guys, welcome back to Take It to the Stage. I'm Emerald.
And I'm Suff.
And today we are going into a musical. That's not completely just a musical. It is also an operetta. Okay? We are going to jump ahead from our most recent episode just slightly, just enough to get into the French Revolution. That's right, boys and girls. We are talking Les Miserables. Les Mis, guys. We're doing Les Mis.
Les Miserables. And I'm Javert.
Yes! We're back.
Do not forget my name.
So, if you guys haven't noticed, Suff has actually seen Les Mis, but he didn't love it. Okay? So, we're going to try a little experiment. I want to see if we talk through the synopsis and watch it again, if it has an impact on whether he likes the musical or not.
Yeah.
Think it could be interesting. I think maybe it's easier to understand musicals if you have that base knowledge of what's going on. It's easier to piece things together rather than doing it in the first try on your first time watching it.
Yeah. Another thing that I think my problem was with watching this one is that since it's technically an operetta, so literally the entire film is just singing.
Right.
Like there's no dialogue.
No dialogue, right.
And I think
it's a long one.
That's something that hasn't ever been my favorite thing for like a movie or anything that I'm watching is like when it's just all singing.
Right.
But I do feel like if I already have like if we go through this, I'll have filled in what dialogue normally would. Mm-hmm. And so it might supplement it enough to be like, okay, now I can enjoy this.
Right. Like you can just sit back and be like, ooh, it happened. Ooh, snap. Ooh, there she go.
And like I do, like the music from it is good.
Bomb.
Like the songs are great. Like I was just singing the first interaction between Javert and Jean Valjean, and that's a bop. And then what's the one where he sings by himself? Stars. Is that what it's called? That one's beautiful. That's gorgeous.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I'm going to talk through some facts for you guys per usual.
Facts.
So, facts.
Fat-ass facts.
This, Les Mis, is actually based on Victor Hugo's epic novel, Les Mis. That was written
by Victor Hugo? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, Big Man Vicky wrote...
Big Man Hugo.
He wrote Les Mis, and then, this musical, next fact, is actually inspired by Oliver. That's a play.
Okay.
And...
Oliver Twist? Isn't that a book or something?
I don't know. A book. But yeah, this is based on that, if you guys know Oliver. Next fact, the first stage incarnation of Les Mis actually debuted at the Paris Palais des Sports.
Oh.
So it's actually like an arena where the first showing of Les Mis was.
Oh, that's
in
pretty
Paris,
cool.
right? So it's all in French.
All in French. That's pretty dope.
And then the British producer Cameron McIntosh adapted it to be an English version. Okay. And it blew up. Everyone was like, what? Oh my gosh, what is this?
Everyone was like, Les Mis.
Les Mis! Yes. So,
okay.
Their angelicized Les Mis would premiere in London in 1985 and reach Broadway in 1987.
Oh, so this is old.
This is old. And then they made that movie version.
Right, with Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe.
This century, yeah.
Right, yeah, that's fairly new. I think that came out, like...
Super
I remember that coming out when I was living in Georgia, I think. So I was, roughly 11, 12.
Yeah, I would say that makes sense to me.
About right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's actually quite old, quite well known for most. I guess mostly people in London would know it the best.
Yeah.
And then they were like, Americans, do it.
We can culture you a little bit.
Do it, Americans. My last fact, the artwork for the cover is actually taken straight from the novel's illustrations.
Okay.
And the artwork for the cover is like this young girl with like a French hat on and the French flag behind her, and she just looks like miserable. Like she does not look happy. And that's what the artwork's actually straight from. They didn't create their own artwork or ask someone to do something new. It's straight from the book.
That also sounds like it was inspired heavily from actual artwork during the French Revolution, because a big So, like, you know how during World War II we had, like, Rosie the Riveter?
Yeah.
Like, the woman, like, flexing her fat bicep and
That
stuff.
thick-
like, that beast of a
thick
woman.
arm.
During the French Revolution, they had a character, I think from French it translates to Lady Liberty, and it's kind of where Our Lady Liberty came from as well, because, you know, that was a gift by the French.
Right, yeah.
And she was always depicted, like, holding these scales, I believe. Like a set of scales.
The OG lady?
Yeah, and she was wearing, in a lot of depictions, like, one of her breasts was hanging out.
Oh my.
As, like, I think it was
Like,
supposed to be, like, a symbol
Our
of
women
freedom.
And
Kinda.
whoa, yeah.
Yeah.
Freedom. Okay, I would have thought of it as a symbol of, like, motherhood almost.
That may be it, too. I remember learning, I remember a little bit about it from AP European History.
Yeah.
We talked about, like, the artwork. It's not a flex! Oh my god. So yeah, that sounds like that was influenced by that, probably.
For sure. I would get that.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay, guys, are you ready to start it?
Yes.
Okay, so, Act 1. In 1815, the prisoners work at hard labor, and they sing work songs. After 19 years in prison, parenthesis, 5 for stealing bread for his starving sisters and son and her family, and the rest for trying to escape, Jean Valjean, prisoner 24601, is released on parole by the policeman Javert. By law, Valjean must display a yellow ticket of leave, which identifies him as an ex-convict, and he sings on parole. As a convict, Valjean is shunned wherever he goes and cannot find regular work with decent wages or lodging. But the Bishop of, Dijon offers him food. I'm going to go with that. Sorry, guys. Offers him food and shelter. Desperate and embittered, Valjean steals the bishop's silver and flees. He is captured by the police, but rather than turn him in, the bishop lies and tells the police that the silver was a gift, giving Valjean a pair of silver candlesticks in addition. The bishop tells Valjean that he must use the silver, quote, to become an honest man, quote, and that he has bought Valjean's soul for God. And then they sing, or the music happens. Valjean is arrested. Valjean is forgiven. That whole thing. Ashamed and humbled by the bishop's kindness, Valjean resolves to redeem his sins. He sings, "What have I done?" It's Valjean's soliloquy. And he tears up his yellow ticket, breaking his parole, but giving himself a chance to start a new life free from the stigma of his criminal past. So that's like the whole exposition, like the whole opening.
Okay.
Right? You see him working on the ship. Dun, dun,
I like remember
dun,
the scenes as you were talking through that.
Yeah, and he's like traveling through the mountains and stuff.
Yeah. I had no clue, like, that the bishop gave him...
Right, he called... Right.
Well, like, I remember the bishop, like, saying, like, oh, it was a gift, but I thought he was just trying to be nice. I didn't pick up on the part of, like, use it to start your new life kind of thing.
And make money with it and, like,
become a better man.
Become a person, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Because, it definitely, there's, like, a slight disconnect, and it's like, he's rich suddenly. Cool. Wonder how that happened. But it's the bishop, like, literally gave him the money to do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's, okay.
So 8 years later, in 1823, Valjean has assumed a new identity as Monsieur Madeleine, a wealthy factory owner and mayor of Montreuil-sur-Mer. Fantine is a single mother working in his factory, trying to support her daughter, Cosette, who is being raised by an innkeeper, and his wife, Fantine, labors in the city. Unbeknownst to Valjean, the factory foreman lusts after Fantine, and when she rejects his advances, he takes it out on the other workers, who resent her for it. One day, a co-worker steals a letter from Cosette from Fantine, revealing to the other workers that Fantine has a child. A fight breaks out, and the foreman and the other workers use the incident as a pretense to fire Fantine. They sing At the End of the Day. Yeah. And then Fantine reflects on her broken dreams and about Cosette's father who abandoned them both. And she sings I Dreamed a Dream. Desperate for money, she sells her locket and hair. Like, literally, like, sells her hair.
Oh, okay.
Because they make wigs, right? There's wigs on all the fancy rich people. They have wigs.
So, why is her having a child a problem? Like, why are the other workers, like, why do they even care?
I think it's because she's getting more than them, I'm guessing, because she has a child.
Oh.
And they don't like that she's getting more.
Oh, okay.
For the work that she's doing.
Okay.
I think that's
I see.
It's all like petty, greedy stuff. Especially because, I mean, people are like starving. It's
right.
like
It's
France,
a bad time.
early France.
Yeah.
It's like bad. So yeah, I think it's
Good
all
old
about that.
Louis the 15th.
Thanks, boyo.
You son bitch.
Oh my gosh.
Let them eat cake. Louis the 14th was where it's at.
Oh yeah.
Hashtag Sun King.
Sun King. I'll just leave that there. Okay, so so I Dreamed a Dream. When she sings that, I'm pretty sure that's the that's like the single most scene in the most recent movie version of Les Mis that like won big
Yeah, that's
big
the one,
award,
right?
like an Oscar for it or something like
Gotcha.
that. Yeah, that's the one. Anne Hathaway is actually a B, I would say.
A what?
A boss ass bitch.
Oh. B-A-B.
Yeah, no, she's
Yeah, dude,
awesome.
she
She's
is
hype.
dope.
And she's so good. Oh! Okay, so that was awesome. Everyone knows that song. I dreamed a dream of time gone by. Okay, so desperate for money, she sells her locket and her hair, like we're talking, finally becoming a prostitute. And they sing Lovely Ladies.
Yeah.
And it's really creepy, and it makes you cringe, and you're like, oh, no, but
Yeah, that part was gross. I understood what was going on there. That wasn't very hard to figure out.
Nope. When she fights back against an abusive customer, Baba Mata Boys. That's his
Baba
name.
Mata Boys.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Bois? I'm done trying. Okay. Javert, now a police inspector stationed in Montreuil-sur-Mer, arrives to arrest her. But Valjean, passing by the scene, pities Fantine, and when he realizes she once worked for him and that she blames him for her misfortune, he is guilt-stricken. Okay? He orders Javert to release her and take her to a hospital. And Fantine's arrest is the musical thing that's happening there. So all that happens, right? Soon afterwards, Valjean rescues a man pinned by a runaway cart. Javert, who has up until now not recognized Valjean, though he has pursued him as a fugitive all these years, witnesses the incident and becomes suspicious, remembering the incredible strength Valjean displayed in the work camp. So he lifts up that big pole the exact same way to save that dude.
Oh, that's right.
And that's how Javert's like, hold up, I seen that squat before. I seen how that dude do that squat.
That's a damn Jean Valjean right
That's
there.
a Jean Val squat right there.
Jean Val squat.
Okay, so, but it turns out another man has been arrested and is about to go to trial for breaking parole. Because they think it's Jean Valjean, but it's not.
And then Javert's like, oh, that's the real one right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the real Valjean realizes that this case of mistaken identity could free him forever. But he's not willing to see an innocent man go to prison in his place, and so he confesses his identity to the court, and he sings Who Am I? At the trial.
Oh, okay.
You kind of remember that?
Kinda, yeah.
He, rolls up, and he's like, who am I? Ba-ba-doo-ba-doo, ba-ba-ba. And everyone in court's sitting there like, what the heck is going? I thought this was the mayor guy. Wait a second.
Okay, yeah.
All that happens. At the hospital, side over here, a delirious Fantine dreams of Cosette. Valjean promises to find Cosette and protect her. And she sings, Come to Me, to Cosette. Relieved, Fantine succumbs to her illness and dies.
Oh, I remember that.
And it's like, oh my gosh, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, caught me. Oh. One of the, like, you know how, like, there's those memes about, like, which TV or movie death made you stop watching? Like, some people just stop watching the series. I want to stop watching the movie right there. I was like, she's not dead. Oh, no, I'm done. I'm out. It's gotta be almost over now. It just started. Okay, so Javert arrives to take Valjean back into custody, but Valjean asks Javert for the time to fetch Cosette. Javert, being the butthead he is, refuses, insisting that a criminal like Valjean can never change or do good. They struggle, but Valjean overpowers Javert and escapes. He, like, jumped into the, like, river or whatever. You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they sing, The Confrontation.
Yeah.
Okay, so, oh my gosh, I'm about over the name of this place. In Montfermeil?
Can I see?
It's all French.
I'm curious.
In Montfermeil?
Montfermeil, I think.
Montfermeil?
Montfermeil?
The
Maybe.
duplicitous innkeepers, oh my gosh, Thénardier, use Cosette as a, that's as good as I can get, okay?
What is happening?
Those crazy innkeeper people,
The
man of the house.
Helena Bonham Carter and what's his name?
And the other guy who's also in Sweeney Todd.
And the other guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, he's in Sweeney Todd too?
Everybody's in Sweeney Todd. Any
does he
British
play?
musical they do, everybody is just also
It's all
in
the
it.
same people?
Yeah. Sweeney Todd, they just, like, took the whole cast and rooted them down into lameness. Like,
Who did
it's all the same.
he play in Sweeney?
I gotta think about it. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Okay. I should say, since we brought that up, Sweeney Todd is one that I have seen. That was actually the first one I ever saw, I think.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know it was a musical when I started it. I thought it was just a movie.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Depp starts singing to me, and I'm like, what the fuck? But I loved Sweeney Todd.
Oh,
that was a good-ass movie.
Oh,
Okay.
Sweeney. Okay, so, these people, okay, I'm not saying their name again, use Cosette as a servant and treat her cruelly while extorting money from Fantine by claiming that Cosette is regularly and seriously ill.
The man of the house.
As well as demanding money to feed and clothe Cosette, all the while indulging their own daughter, Eponine. Yeah?
They had a daughter?
Yes.
I don't even remember that.
Yes. Because their daughter, Eponine, grows up and she's, like, in the whole second half of the movie. Like, she's in it. Like...
She's the one that's in love? Mm-hmm. Oh, I never made that connection.
Sorry if there's spoilers, guys. For those who have not heard this, we will... Sorry.
Well, I mean, they shouldn't be listening to this anyway.
You're welcome to listen. Okay, so...
Let us spoil you.
Let us spoil all the goods. So, Eponine. Cosette dreams of a life with a mother, Fantine, who's now dead, where she is not forced to work and is treated lovingly. And she sings Castle on a Cloud. Okay, and it's really sad. And it almost sounds like a lullaby. Oh. Like, it's very interesting music for the way they chose that. The crazy people...
the Don Bodon?
Yeah. No, the adults. Cheat their customers, of course, stealing their possessions and setting high prices for low-quality service.
Oh, I remember that.
And
he's running around
live a life
pickpocketing.
of criminal depravity. And they sing, Master of the House.
Oh, Master of the House. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I said Man of the House.
Man of the House.
Man of the House.
Okay, Valjean meets Cosette while she's on an errand drawing water and offers the people payment to adopt her. And it's called the bargaining. The Thénardier feign concern for Cosette, claiming that they love her like a daughter and that she's in fragile health, and bargain with Valjean, who pays them 1,500 francs, however you'd like it, in the end. Valjean and Cosette leave for Paris, and the Waltz of Treachery is sung. So he basically buys Cosette off of them. Because they use her she's a real good bargaining chip for money and stuff. Because they suck. So,
Yeah, they suck butt.
9 years later, whew, the time jumps, guys.
Yeah, this takes place over a long period of time.
Yeah. In 1832, Paris. Paris is in upheaval because of the impending death of General Lamarque, the only man in the government who shows mercy to the poor. So among those mingling in the streets are student revolutionaries Maurice Pontmercy and, oh shoot, how do you say this? Enoras, the other guy, who contemplate the effect of that dude's death and will have the effect that dude's death will have on the poor and desperate in Paris. Whew. The annoying people, adults, who have since lost their inn, where they stole from people, now run a street gang. Their daughter Epony, who is now grown, has fallen in love with Maurice, right? Who is oblivious to her affections, of course. He, doesn't even realize she loves him.
Wait, she's in love with Maurice?
Mm-hmm. Who is in... Spoiler alert, who is in love with Cosette. It's a whole love triangle.
I thought she was in love with Cosette.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
That's what I got from that movie.
Wow. But then she, I'm not spoiling anymore. We'll talk about it later. Okay. So...
I'm shook.
She's grown. She falls in love with the guy, Maurice, and the streetwise young urchin, Gavroche, who knows everything that happens in the slums. They sing, "Look down, look down."
Oh.
The...
Isn't that a reprise? Because that's the song they sing at the beginning, right?
No, actually, I was wrong about that. Sorry. It's a different song. But I think it has the same, a similar melody line. I think it sounds similar.
Okay.
So the Thénardiers prepare to con some charitable visitors who turn out to be Valjean and Cosette. Okay.
Oh, shoot.
Who has grown into a beautiful young woman.
Yes, she did.
Oh, snap. While the gang bamboozles her father.
Bamboozles?
Yeah.
It's so funny to hear a serious use of that word.
Bamboozle. Cosette runs into Maurice, and the pair fall in love at first sight, per usual, right?
Maurice was Eddie Redmayne, right? In the movie? That's who he played?
I believe so. Which is the guy who's in, what's that movie? Harry Potter spinoff, basically.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Beasts.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Yep.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's Maurice.
Cool.
So, Thénardier, people suddenly recognize Valjean. But before they can finish the robbery, Javert, now an inspector stationed here in Paris, comes to the rescue. And they sing the robbery, and he's like, "What's going on here? You robber people, naughty, naughty. What the heck?"
Naughty, naughty.
Valjean and Cosette escape. And only later, when the jerkwad bamboozler tips him off, does Javert suspect who they were. So Javert didn't even realize they were there.
Bro, how bad is his job? Valjean looks the same through the entire
Always.
movie.
Yeah.
What?
Oh my god. Honestly, I think you talked over it, so...
How does he not recognize him? I don't understand.
I think you can avoid people in public if you, tilt your head the right way and, if you're wearing a hat or something. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I think he's... And also, there's so many people in the streets. I think he can bob and weave easy enough to hide.
That's true.
And
it has been a long time, so I guess if you haven't seen somebody for a long time, you can start forgetting what they look like.
Right. Javert makes a vow to the stars, which represent his belief in a just and ordered universe where suffering is a punishment for sin, that he will find Valjean and recapture him. That's what he sings, stars.
Stars in their multitude. Yep.
He likes that song. So, meanwhile, Maurice persuades Epony to help him find Cosette, and they sing Epony's errand. So, she's helping Maurice find the person he likes, even though she likes him, so she's helping him because she likes him. Big old triangle of sadness.
Why did I think that she was in love with Cosette?
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Because the whole time, I got the vibe that she was helping Maurice, even though she was also in love with Cosette.
Ooh, that would have been an interesting...
So that's why I thought she was, like, having a hard time.
Right. Yeah, no, it was about Maurice.
I'm so... Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, so...
See, I'm telling you, I'm bad when there's no dialogue. It's hard for me to get what's happening.
So, at a small cafe, Enjolras exhorts a group of idealistic students to prepare for a revolution. Maurice interrupts the serious atmosphere by fantasizing about his newfound love, much to the amusement of his compatriots, particularly the wine-loving Grantier. They sing Red and Black.
Oh,
Because
okay. I remember
he's
that.
all like, oh, love. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the guy's like, no, war. Literally in the middle of something, dude.
Yeah.
Wake up.
I remember that. Get woke.
Get woke. When
Frick the fence.
Gavroche brings the... Frick the friends. Frick
The French? Frick the French?
Like the, like...
That would sound real bad out of context.
Frick the fence. Okay, so when Gavroche brings the news of General Lamarque's death, the students realize that they can use the public's dismay to incite the revolution and that their time has come. And they sing, do you hear the people sing, singing the da-da-da-da-da.
See, I didn't get that either.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, that's okay.
I did not understand that that's what they were, like,
honestly,
trying to get to.
I think it's like something you get good at. It's like a skill.
Like, the more you watch, the more you can just pick it up from the music.
It's almost like one time, or when I started playing a video game or something, it took me forever to figure out the controls. I was like, where's the menu? Where's the map? But people who play video games often, they usually make the map the same button every time.
Mm-hmm.
So you like instinctively can figure most of the things out right away.
Mm-hmm. That's actually really interesting. I watched a video recently about the language of video games.
Yeah.
And about how someone who has played a ton of video games
You,
can
like, know what
easily
to
learn a
expect.
new one.
Right.
Whereas someone who's never played,
It's bad.
takes them, yeah, it's really hard for them.
Really hard.
So, like, yeah, that's probably the same thing, like the language of
Right.
operettas.
And then on top of that, I feel like I would get less out of a video game. Like, literally, like, I wouldn't think to look in places where people who are more well-versed in video games know where to look. And so it's going to take me way longer to figure things out. I'm going to become more frustrated because I'm confused. Whereas people will be like, oh, yeah, it's probably over here. I'm going to check over here. Oh, yeah, there it is. And it's like, chill. You know?
I totally get that.
So I think that's similar in, like, musicals. And any aspect of anything, probably. But, like, that also comes across in musicals. You're, like, looking for people to be suspicious about someone else and looking for love connections everywhere. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I just gotta learn the language.
You gotta learn that language. And then you'll be good. And then the world will open up unto you. Okay? Alright. At Valjean's house, Cosette thinks about her chance meeting with Maurice, and later confronts Valjean about the secrets he keeps about his and her own past. And he sings In My Life. Eponine leads Maurice to Valjean's house despite being heartbroken that he has fallen in love with another, and he and Cosette meet again and confess their mutual love. And they sing A Heart Full of Love. And it's like really like sad because like they're singing to each other and Eponine's singing to him, but no one's singing back to her. And so there's this like triangle of like, oh, I'm so in love with you, and she's like, I'm in love with you, but you can't tell. Shoot. And you thought she was talking about Cosette?
I swear to God, she was singing to Cosette, dude. Oh my God. I'm so jacked up.
I could see where that comes across because, like, they knew each other as little kids. You were thinking there was, like, something there her whole life. And then, like, but rather than seeing, like, a love at first sight thing happening.
That's probably what happened.
I don't know. I can see it. Okay.
Maybe when we watch it again, I'll be able to pick out, like, that's what made me think of that.
Right. Okay, so, Thénardier and his gang, the Bamboozlers, arrive intending to rob Valjean's house. But Eponine stops them by screaming a warning. And they sing Attack on Rue Plumet. The scream alerts Valjean, who believes that the intruder was Javert. Alright, so he's like, we need to leave. I'm going to be arrested and you're going to be alone and that's going to be really bad. Let's go. But she's actually trying to tell Maurice, like, hey, time to get going. My family's coming. We need to go. It's like a whole thing.
I don't remember that at all.
No? No, they're like packing up and her, Cosette and like Valjean are fighting and he's like forcing her to pack her stuff. And he's like, we need to leave. And she's like, why are we running? Why can't we stay? And he's like, because we have to go. I can't tell you why. Because I can't tell you that I'm actually a criminal, but I'm better now.
Well, I remember them packing and like needing to leave.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the bamboozlers showing up and like the warning or anything.
Yeah, the bamboozler showed up, but he thought it was Javert.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, he tells Cosette that it's time once again for them to go on the run, and starts planning for them to flee France all together.
I didn't get that either.
Which means Cosette wouldn't see Maurice again.
Right.
And she just, like, found him. She's like, I just found the love of my life. Don't pull this crap, Daddy. So, on the eve of 1832 Paris uprising, Valjean prepares to go into exile. Cosette and Maurice part in despair. Enjolras encourages all of Paris to join the revolution as he and the other students prepare for battle. Epine acknowledges Maurice will never love her. Maurice is conflicted whether to follow Cosette or join the uprising. Javert reveals his plans to spy on the students, and the bamboozlers scheme to profit off the coming violence.
I remember that part.
Maurice decides to stand with his friends, and all anticipate what the dawn will bring, and they sing One Day More. And that's the end of Act 1.
Mm-hmm.
Everything comes to, its pivotal point.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Act 2. Do. Alright. As the students build a barricade to serve as their rally point, Javert disguises as a rebel, volunteers to spy on the government troops for them. Maurice discovers that Epine has disguised herself as a boy to join the rebels and sends her to deliver a farewell letter to Cosette.
Oh,
and they sing Building a Barricade
too.
And then Upon These Stones.
Okay.
Right? So he's like, I need you to go give this to the girl I actually love. And it's really sad and like, oh my goodness. Poor Epine. She's just having a rough time of it. Okay.
Wait. Maurice gives Epine
the letter
to Cosette. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And Epine is just disguised as a boy.
Gotcha.
So that she could get into the little rebellion that's happening.
Gotcha.
Okay, so Valjean intercepts the letter and learns about Maurice and Cosette's romance. Epine walks the streets of Paris alone, imagining that Maurice is there with her, but laments that her love for Maurice will never be reciprocated, and she sings On My Own, which is I Dreamed a Dream, basically, but on my own. It's saying differently, right? The French army arrives at the barricade and demands that the students surrender. At the barricade, they sing Upon the Stones. Though Javert tells the students that the government will not attack that night, liar, Gavroche recognizes him and quickly exposes him as a spy, and the students detain Javert. So that Gavroche is that little boy.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm. I remember this part.
And he's like, I saw him, he's a liar.
Uh-huh.
It's the whole thing.
Yep. And so then they, like, take him prisoner.
Yeah. Their plan is to spark a general uprising with their act of defiance, hoping that all the people of Paris will side with them and overwhelm the army. Good plan if it works. Epine returns to find Maurice, but is shot by the soldiers crossing the barricade. As Maurice holds her, she assures him that she feels no pain and reveals her love for him before dying in his arms. And they sing A Little Fall of Rain. And, like, right before she dies, she's like, I love you. And he's like, I love you too. It's okay, I'm here. And then she dies in his arms.
What movie did I watch?
That's what I'm wondering.
Because I remember her dying in Cosette's arms.
What?
Yeah.
You actually had a stroke.
I think so. I don't know what's happening to me. I feel like I'm about to watch a whole different movie.
You actually are, I think.
Oh my god. Okay. I don't know what was happening with me, but cool.
Okay, so the students mourn this first loss of life at the barricades and resolve to fight in her name. And they carry her body away while Enjolras attempts to comfort Maurice, who is heartbroken over Epony's death, because they were like best friends.
Who was?
Maurice and Epony.
Oh, okay.
It was like a best friend. One loves the other, but
So,
the other doesn't love them.
the Enjolras, is that the guy that we always see with Maurice in the movie? Like
they're
his,
like bros.
His like best bro friend?
His bro friend.
Okay, yeah.
Who, they're like teamed together to like...
Yeah. He's the one that he's singing with about like going to follow Cosette versus like, we got this thing to do, dude.
Mm-hmm. Okay. He's fairly famous. He's in a few other things.
Yeah,
his face is really recognizable.
I feel like I've seen him before.
I can't remember what he's in that I'm thinking of. Oh well. So that happens. Boom. Valjean arrives at the barricade, crossing the government lines, disguised as a soldier, hoping that he might somehow protect Maurice in the coming battle for Cosette's sake. He's like, shoot.
Oh, I remember that.
They're in love. I can't let him die out there. She deserves the life that I didn't get. She deserves hope. She deserves to be loved. Mm-hmm. And if this guy really loves her, when I'm gone, because he's surrendered, like he's like, I promise I'll go to jail as soon as I make sure Cosette's fine and everything.
Mm-hmm, right. Oh, I do remember that.
Right. He's like, this guy I need to keep him alive to protect her, to be with her. Because he promised Fantine he would protect her, right? Mm-hmm. So, the rebels are suspicious of him at first, but when the army attacks, Valjean saves Enjolras by shooting at a sniper and scaring him off. And they accept him as one of them. They're like, you saved my bro. You can be a part of the rebels. That's good. Okay, so in return, he asks Enjolras to be the one to execute the imprisoned Javert, which Enjolras grants. But as soon as Valjean and Javert are alone, Valjean frees Javert.
Oh, I remember that. Yep.
So Javert
and Javert's all like,
what the heck? You can
kill me. I
thought
you were bad.
Take me out. Why are you not killing me like a criminal? Javert warns Valjean that he will not give up his pursuit and rejects what he perceives as a bargain for Valjean's freedom. So he thinks that Valjean didn't kill him so that Javert would be like, oh, I owe you. You can be free.
Right, but he really did it just because he's a better person now.
Right.
Well, he never was even a bad guy to begin with. He was stealing to feed his family.
Facts.
Like, because everyone was poor.
But if you do something sinful, you're a criminal, period. In, like, Javert's eyes.
Yeah.
Therefore, you are a bad person.
Yeah. Right.
No matter the reason for why you're doing it, you are bad. Right.
Yeah, it's a different time.
Facts. Yep. Valjean says that there are no conditions to his release and holds no ill will for Javert for doing his duty. He's like, I understand why you're doing what you're doing. So, do what you gotta do, man. I'm gonna keep trying to run away, though. Sorry. So then they sing the first attack, okay? The students settle down for the night and reminisce about the past while also expressing anxiety about the battle to come. And Enjolras tells the other students to stay awake in case the enemy strikes unexpectedly in the night, but tells Maurice to get some sleep, knowing Maurice is still much too devastated over losing Epony to stay awake. Courrantier gets angry and asks the students if they fear to die, as Maurice wonders if Cosette will remember him if he dies, and they sing Drink With Me. As Maurice sleeps, Valjean prays to God to protect Maurice, even if the cost for Maurice's safety is his own life, and sings Bring Him Home. As dawn approaches, Enjolras realizes that the people of Paris have not risen up with them, but resolves to fight on in spite of the impossible odds. Their resolve is fired even further when the army killed Gavroche, the little boy, who snuck out to collect ammunition from bodies on the other side of the barricade.
Oh, that's what he was doing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
He was trying to, help fuel them.
Trying to help, yeah.
The army gives a final warning, but the rebels fight to the last man, with Enjolras exhorting, quote, let others rise to take our place until the earth is free, quote. Everyone at the barricade is killed except for Valjean and a gravely wounded Maurice, who escape into the sewers. Right? Valjean, like, puts him on his back and, like, pulls him through the sewers to, like, get them free.
Oh, that's right.
And he's all, like, out. He's
he's
out,
messed up.
Passed,
yeah,
out.
I do remember that.
So, Javert returns to the barricade, searching for Valjean amongst the bodies, because he's like, this criminal better be dead this time, and finds the open sewer grating, so he knows he escaped, if he's not there, right? Valjean carries Maurice through the sewers, but collapses in exhaustion. While he is unconscious, the bamboozler, who has been looting bodies, and sings Dogs Eat Dog, comes upon them and takes a ring from the unconscious Maurice, but flees when Valjean, whom he again recognizes, regains consciousness. When Valjean carries Maurice to the sewers exit, he finds Javert waiting for him. Valjean begs Javert for 1 hour to bring Maurice to a doctor, and Javert reluctantly agrees. He's kind of like getting enough of a soft spot to be like, whatever, dude. Javert finds himself unable to reconcile Valjean's merciful acts with his conception of Valjean as an irredeemable criminal. Refusing to compromise his principles, but no longer able to hold them sacred, he finds himself torn between his beliefs about God and his desire to adhere to the law, and commits suicide by throwing himself into the Seine?
The Seine, I believe it's
Seine?
pronounced.
Yeah.
It's a super famous river through Paris.
Yeah, Seine. And he sings a soliloquy, and he jumps. Yeah. Which was like, whoa, now that, my friends, is commitment to your beliefs.
Yeah,
because he's like so torn. He's like, I can't live in a world like this.
That part threw me for a loop and like was just gross. Like, because they like follow the whole fall.
Oh, the whole fall, and you literally watch his
like,
body float in the water.
Yeah, well, you hear him like hit that concrete thing because it's got like the steps down kind
of
thing, and it just.
It was.
Yeah, it was chilling.
The whole movie's so good.
Oh man.
Yeah, hits ya. In the wake of the failed revolution, women mourn the deaths of students. They sing Turning. And Maurice, wounded but alive, despairs at the sacrifice of so many lives and at the death of his friends while he survives. And he sings Empty Chairs and Empty Tables. Ooh, I got chills.
So good.
I got chills just thinking about it. That's song's
such
so
a good song.
So good. As he wonders who saved his own life, Cosette comforts him, and they reaffirm their blossoming romance. Valjean realizes that Cosette will not need him as a caretaker once she's married, and gives them his blessing, and sings every day. Valjean confesses to Maurice that he is an escaped convict and must go away because his presence endangers Cosette, making Maurice promise to never tell Cosette. Right. A few months later, Maurice and Cosette marry, and the whole wedding chorale thing happens, and the bamboozlers, of course they back, crash the reception disguised as nobility and attempt to blackmail Maurice, telling him that Valjean is a murderer and that the bamboozlers saw him carrying a corpse in the sewers after the barricades fell, which the corpse was actually Maurice.
It was him, yeah, he was saving his life.
Right. When the bamboozler shows him the ring as proof, Maurice realizes that it was Valjean who saved his life. Because the bamboozlers have his ring.
Right.
The newlyweds leave to find Valjean. In some productions, Maurice pauses to give the bamboozlers a punch in the face. They totally deserve that. But I think they just kicked him out of the wedding. I think they were like, come, get him out of here. I can't remember, but yeah. The bamboozlers are not discouraged, instead gloating that their craven practically has saved their lives time and time again. And they sing Beggars at the Feast. They're like, it's fine, actually. We are this way for good reason, thank you very much. We live well.
Yeah, right.
So, at a convent, exactly the same convent that he stole the silver from at the beginning. He went back.
I remember that.
Valjean awaits his death, having nothing left to live for. The spirit of Fantine appears to him and tells him that he has been forgiven and will soon be with God. Cosette and Maurice arrive to find Valjean near death. Valjean thanks God for letting him live long enough to see Cosette again, and Maurice thanks him for saving his life. Valjean gives Cosette a letter confessing his troubled past and the truth about her mother. As he dies, the spirits of Fantine and Epine guide him to heaven, reminding him that to love another person is to see the face of God. They are joined by the spirits of those who died at the barricades, who sing that in the next world, God lays low all tyranny and frees all oppressed people from their shackles. And then, do you hear the people sing? Happens again, and that's the end, right? And then you see everyone rising up, and as the French Revolution truly begins.
Right.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the end.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's crazy. There was so much of that I did not get from watching it.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it just didn't click.
But now,
I
think when you go back, you might, like, enjoy it more. You'll see everything happen a little bit better.
I think I would, too. Huh. Wow. I don't know where that whole Cosette Epine thing came from.
I don't think they were quite ready to cross those bridges and start, right? But, yeah. This is, like, one of the most known musicals. Like, people who don't really watch musicals and stuff, technically it's an operetta, but most people have seen this.
Or at least know what it is if you talk about it.
Right. And the music is so rich and beautiful. It's like...
It's got some bangers. It's got some bangers.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow, guys. Awesome. I really loved going through this. I hope that you guys go ahead and watch Les Mis on your own time now that you've had a little synopsis review. I know we will.
Gang.
So next week, I'm not sure what we're going to do, but if you guys have suggestions, please bring them in and tell them to us on our social media at Take It to the Stage on Facebook or Instagram. You can also email us at takeittothestagepodcast@gmail.com. But
also, feel free to comment on the YouTube videos.
Oh, please comment on the YouTube videos.
If that's where you're watching,
guys,
you can just comment and right there.
For real. Subscribe. Like the videos
please
so
subscribe.
That we know you're watching.
Share with people.
Please share. And hopefully soon, maybe we can get some interviews going and throw those up on the YouTube. Did I sound like a boomer or not?
Throw them up on the YouTubes.
On those there Facebooks. And
what you got on your Facebook?
It's just my face. So yeah, guys, thanks for listening, and we will hear from you hopefully sometime this week, and we'll be back with you next week with the next episode. This was Emerald.
This was Suff.
Bye, guys.
See ya.